Hey, how you doing? This is Tom, and this is Tom's Radio Room Show, and I'm down here in my workshop, and this is my only Apple product. Well, I do have a real old Apple computer, which is buried someplace, I don't know where, but this is my iPad. It's an iPad 2, so it's quite old, and it appears that in some cases the applications for iPads, iOS, versus Android are better. And I want to show you a prime example of that. Now, I don't use this iPad very often, and I haven't used this particular program in quite a while, so I may stumble a little bit. But the program I want to show you is a scanner radio program. Now, what happened to me about 6 years ago, maybe it's 8 years ago, the local Pinellas County Fire EMS police went digital. And I don't have a digital scanner. So for many years now, I've been listening to those on the internet via somebody else's scanner radio, via radio reference, which now is their scanner portion, or the radio portion is Broadcastify. So that's how I've been listening to it. And I can listen to it either on a computer using Broadcastify via radio reference, or I can listen to it on a tablet using a scanner application, which I think they all go to Broadcastify and get their radio transmissions. On any of those, with the one exception, they are not scanners. They're a single station. So you pick a station and that's all you can listen to. Not like a real scanner where you can, have dozens of stations programmed in and have the radio scan and looking for stations all the time. Now, the exception is on the Apple iPad, a program called Action Scanner Pro. That's it right there. It, in a simplified version, does the scanner function. You can program over here the stations you want to listen to. And you can program up to, if you get the Pro version, I don't remember how much it was, you can program up to 6 stations. If you get the free version, you can only program 4. And there's some other things you get. I think with the free version, you get ads that come in there. So right now, and you get 4 banks, 1, 2, 3, 4 banks down here. Let me zoom in now that you've seen me. Well, before I zoom in, here it gives you a listing of the 10 codes. And over here, let me turn this volume down. Over here it gives you a map, which is zoomable. And on the map, it shows you with a little pincushion. Now I'll zoom in. Shows you with a little pincushion. Where's Mr. Finger? Get my big fat hand out of the way. There's a pin, and it's flashing because it's scanning it. And theoretically, and sometimes it seems like it doesn't work every time, when it stops on a station, then that will change color and stay that color. Don't remember if it's purple or red. I think it's red. It's flashing purple and red right now. So it gives you an indication of where the station is. No big deal. And of course you can zoom out so that if you have programmed scanners throughout the world, it will tell you visually where that station is. Okay, nice little feature, not a big deal. You can have this run in background mode, so that you can close up the tablet and it's still running and you can still hear the station. And as I said before, you can program, and I got it cut off a little bit there. I programmed in this bank of 4 banks, 3 local stations, radios. One is monitoring the Pinellas County Fire and EMS. One is monitoring the Clearwater Police East. And there's another one monitoring Pinellas County Sheriff, EMS, and Clearwater. So it's scanning those three stations right now. And you can come up here, move up here and add, with this plus sign, you can add another station. And it doesn't have to be in the same area. It can be totally different. And then I've got 4 banks that I programmed. I'm going to go down there to the bottom. I'm kind of using this close-up view so you can actually see the screen a little bit. So I've got one called Pinellas, we're out of letters, one called Ham, one called Railroad, and one called Alaska. So I can select Alaska, for instance, and it will now jump to Alaska, and I've got 4 stations in Alaska program of the ones that are there. Now you could select another state, you could select, like someplace in Europe, and here it shows, let me zoom out so you can see the map a little better. Okay, so here it shows the pin cushions of each of those stations. I guess there's 2 down here. And it's blinking from purple to red as it's scanning. So if it detects a station, that station will become, I think, red, and the other ones will stay purple. Just tells you where the station is. Nice little features. Now, there's a lot of features of this, and I probably won't go over all of them. You've got a clock function. Move over here. Got a clock function here, so you can have it start playing or running the program during certain times of the day, so you don't want to leave it on all the time. Again, you can add stations. So with the Pro version, I can have 5 stations. I can add another station. So hit the plus. Oops, hit the plus. Easier. And it goes to the database. And maybe I should zoom out. So here's the database of all the stations that you can listen to in the world. So then you can pick, excuse me, most popular. That's the stations that the most people are listening to, and that's dynamically being updated. And usually, if I select that, usually Chicago's at the top. And sure enough, Chicago Police is at the top. They're always busy. And there's 1,136 people listening to that scanner right now. So that's one way you can select stations. One way you can use that is you can go to that and see what stations are popular, and besides Chicago, the popularity and the number of people listening will go up depending on if there's some incident going on. It's a riot or fire, volcano, whatever. Then you can select a country. So I'm going to select United States right now. And then within the United States, you can select a state. So I'm going to pick Florida. And then within Florida, or any other state, you can pick a county. So if I pick like the one across the bay, which is Hillsborough, right there is Hillsborough, select that. These are the 5 stations, it's 5 radios that are on the air monitoring certain things. Like the first one's monitoring a ham radio repeater. The next one is monitoring the CSX Railroad in Valrico. The next one is the CSX radio in Greater Plant City, and so on down. So you can select one of those, and it will add it to your list, depending on what band. What band, what group you're in, it'll add to that particular one. So we can add one for the heck of it. Let's add, excuse me, I'm sorry. I have these sinus problems in the morning. Over here, it tells you some facts, and of course you can't see it very well. Try zooming in. It gives you some facts about that particular station, like the number of listeners, and you can click on this and get other information about that particular station. So I'm going to select Hillsborough County Sheriff. And now it's got a check mark there, which means it's added to the list I was in. So if we go back, go back, go back, go back. And now, since I was under Alaska, it has added it to Alaska. Didn't really want it there. Hillsborough is pretty busy too. Now, within, turn this down some, within each one of these that you've selected, you can change some of the parameters. So you hit the little greater than sign, and here's some parameters you can change for that specific channel. And let me set this down. So here's the ID information, and then you can assign an icon. It assigns one to begin with, but you can change it if you want to. Then you can change the volume for that particular channel. Isn't that awesome? So each one of these channels that you put in here, you can select the volume. So if normally that particular radio that you're listening to doesn't have very good volume, you can increase the volume, or vice versa. You can also theoretically change the squelch. I don't know if that works really, or if it's just kind of eye candy. It seems to work. So if you got a station that has a radio that has a lot of noise on it or something, you could change that squelch to try to improve that. So we can close this back down. We go back to the map. And now, since I had those Alaska stations there, those are all the pincushions, there's now one down here for that Hillsborough, Tampa station. And it's red because I'm receiving something on that frequency. And then there's, of course, there's a little S meter. And there's many, many other functions, but I've babbled enough about this particular program. The key function is this canning capability. Up to, if you get by the Pro version, up to 6 channels at a time and 4 banks. Pretty cool. If you want more information, I'll be glad to do another video in more details. If you enjoyed the show, please give me a thumbs up and have a great day. Goodbye.